Hey everybody, how's it going? It is Max and Trev with BuzzTox here with our reaction and review. How's it going, Trev?
Very good.
Man, so we watched this episode, Westworld episode 4, like 20 minutes ago. And what'd you think about the episode, Trev?
It's really good. Very story driven, definitely. Like I'm comparing it to the last one we watched, was like off the hook. But this one was very, very interesting.
But I really appreciated this episode because it gave us, some answers, but like even more questions. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, like a lot of questions. My goodness.
And I love this episode because to me, every episode that focuses on all the characters in the Westworld itself, I love.
Yeah.
Like I love Bernard's story arc, but like Dolores to me, I see as the main character. Like Teddy, like those kind of characters.
Maeve showed her true colors.
And
in this
Maeve,
episode.
like Maeve is a great primary character.
Yeah, she's awesome.
This
is like her first real awesome episode.
It was unbelievable. And I got to really give the show kudos because, it's like Planet of the Apes, for example, where you focus on the ape instead of the humans. And I love the fact how they're focusing on the androids instead of the humans.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how we've adapted that now, where we're trying to see the other side of the story.
Well, we've seen so many stories with the humans. That's what's so awesome about this show is that they're getting in touch with the AI story, and they're seeing it from that perspective.
Yeah, and I also love how, like, with episode 4, it even gives more context to, like, all these different characters. Like, Dolores isn't, like, the primary character. Like, it's not all focused around her. You also get a lot of focus on Maeve.
Yeah.
You get a lot of focus on all these other characters, which really helps build the episode, and I just thought it was unbelievable.
Yeah,
music, unbelievable.
Like, as always.
Like, and I love how, like, I love when they go back to previous parts of the episode. Like, since you get a world that keeps repeating itself.
Yeah.
I love how we revisited the shootout scene when they stole the safe, but we saw it in a different context.
Yeah.
And I love it because you get kind of an Easter egg in episode 1 without even realizing it.
Yeah.
And then you get to relive it again from a different perspective.
Exactly.
So, like, I just absolutely love the show. But let's delve deep and just give our quick initial thoughts on these main characters of the show. So this episode really focused in on Dolores. And, the one really interesting thing about her is that she doesn't want to forget her parents. And she says that, her grief of her parents is all she really remembers.
Yeah.
And it's something that could really drive her forward. And I thought that was, really interesting character development. And it showed her, moving forward towards her goal. And Bernard, tells her, do you want to pursue something called the maze?
Yeah.
Which is a big deal because he knows about the maze too.
Yeah, with confirmation that he knows about it. But does he know everything about it? We're not sure. It just seems like he knows you go there and he says that you could possibly be set free.
I know, but what are his motives making her want to pursue that maze?
Yeah. He seemed almost guilty in this. Like he's pushing it too far. Like he almost was, like I even said to you, like he's having a bad day. He was like, it was almost bothering him to talk to Dolores in this time. Before he was always curious, whereas this one he was almost like, you're going so far, like, I don't know what to do with you. And he even comments on something that she says, he asks her, like, did we write that? Because that was beautiful what you just said. So he almost seemed torn with these things and how far this is actually going. At least in my perspective.
Yeah, and he told her that if she went to the maze, she would find answers and maybe find out who she really is and who she's meant to be.
Yeah.
Kind of a thing, which I found really interesting. And then, if he wants her to go to the maze, then what is the Man in Black's motivation to go to the maze?
Exactly.
And we've learned more and more about the Man in Black. Like, and we've said, like, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
You gotta separate the contexts. He is on vacation. He's been coming here for many, many years. If he kills somebody, he sees them the next day. It doesn't make him bad. It just means he's adapted.
Yeah, he likes to play the heel.
Yeah, if you play a video game and you kill a bunch of people, when you log back in, they're there again. So you lose your sense of emotion.
He's a sadistic Grand Theft Auto player.
Yeah, exactly. And, his motivation is
so far beyond anyone else that's in that park, obviously.
Yeah, and he has fans. Like, he does charity work. Yeah,
so we get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain for him because someone comes up to him and says, you know what? I just want to thank you.
He's like, hey, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Just, I'm on vacation.
I'm on vacation.
Piss off.
So he's like a role player in a sense. Like he really doesn't want to get into that.
Oh, yeah, man. He's really into it.
But foundation usually means charitable. So that means he's like really good guy.
Yeah.
That's what's so crazy
so
about it.
You're definitely going to be seeing Dolores and the Man in Black collide as they race to this maze.
Yeah, it's totally different situations. It's almost like he wants in for good while she wants out for good.
Exactly.
It's the only thing I can put together.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like it is exactly right. Like the man in the maze is the god that they were supporting in this episode, and he has the power to see both sides of the world.
Yes.
And the man in black is coming from one side of the world of real life, and Dolores is coming from the alternate, which is robotics. And it's almost like finding the center of the maze is almost a point where you can jump off into the other side.
I wonder what it is. Like, that's what's driving me crazy. What could it possibly be? Right?
I have no idea. But then, you have Dolores racing for the maze, and now you have the man in black racing for the maze. And then you have Ford sitting in the background, and obviously he has a plan. And his plan is leaning towards getting people to approach this maze. Ford said earlier that he wanted Teddy to be a part of a particular storyline.
Yeah.
And he gave him an origin with Wyatt.
Yeah.
And Wyatt is also wanted by that woman.
Mm-hmm.
She wants to fill the rest of her snake with his blood.
Oh, yeah, the whole storyline is that she was, like, killed or, like, really badly treated when she was a kid, or at least her story says that.
Yeah, and that leads the man in black to Teddy. So now Teddy is going to play another important role in helping the man in black get to the maze. So I think you're going to see all these kind of characters jump on the bandwagon of this maze.
Does Ford want them to get to the maze, or is Ford always had the maze and he's like, nobody's getting close to it, so I'm going to turn up the heat on this Wyatt story so people start questioning what the maze is? I don't know, man. I almost feel like the maze is not a part of his plan in a sense.
We'll see what happens, but
hard.
To me, it still shows that he is after life and he's after conscientiousness.
Yeah.
In robotics.
Consciousness.
Whatever. I made up my own word. Whatever.
I know.
But then, back on track with Dolores, we see her wake up and grab her gun with William. So this, in a sense, could debunk our timeline theory. I don't even want to talk about it right now, but
we have to do it now.
There's hints for and against it. But with Dolores, why was she sitting with Bernard, talking about what happened and her parents dying and all that stuff, and then appearing next to William as if nothing has happened? Like, that doesn't happen.
That's the number one thing that breaks that whole thing.
That makes no sense. You're not going to have a bunch of guys being like, oh, hey, William, hey, Logan, do you mind if we just take Dolores for a couple of hours and just pick her brain? And then we'll give her back, we swear to God.
Or
it doesn't work.
Even if they pulled in one of those service elevators, still they pulled her out and put her back. It just seems like it's something they wouldn't do.
Yeah, so it's been me fighting back and forth where the show gives you so many teases and so many answers, and it gives you the hints to so many different theories, like the timeline theory. But just as many hints as they give you towards it, they take it away
exactly
with a few little things that jab you, which don't make any sense.
This is beating a dead horse, but could it have been that Dolores almost got out before?
I don't even know, man. Like, we have to look into it.
It's
and
tough.
Dolores kind of took a backseat in the rest of this episode. She kind of played as just a girl being protected. She was the third wheel as William pursued his goal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of drama there. But this episode was just as much Dolores as it was Maeve's, and I feel like Maeve actually even more of an important role.
Yeah, she took the show here, at least for me. It
Becoming
was awesome.
More and more self-aware, and she getting these visions, and she drew the people who were working on her. And remember, we were watching the show, and she opened up the board. Just before she opened up the board, I'm like, she's gonna see 100 more of those drawings.
Exactly.
Boom, she says 100 more of those drawings. So that's the realization, like, holy shit. 100 times I have realized that I have been shot. 100 times I have seen this vision. 100 times I have tried to hide it in the same spot.
Yeah.
Which, imagine what she's going through. It's like, holy shit, I'm in this spinning loop and I keep forgetting and I keep forgetting. It's depressing.
Yeah. But see, that's what I mean. Like, is this planned or is she breaking out? Because that's the whole thing. If Ford's trying to implement religion with, like, subtle hints, or is it someone outside of the character tree that we know that's influencing her in this way?
I don't know.
Oh man,
but you could
it got really deep in this.
You could say it's just the bot. Like, since Maeve saw all those things, she said, like, maybe I've realized this 100 times.
Mm-hmm.
So she later in the episode, she picks up a doll and she discovers more about it. She discovers that it's a new religion in a sense, this doll, which is pretty much the figure that she drew.
Yeah, and that's why I said, like, that's a 2 on the nose. If it wasn't someone doing it, they wouldn't have the native population.
This plays on exactly what I said in our analysis video.
No,
I said
that's true.
I said this exactly. You guys can go check it. I said Ford is using religion to give them something to point their conscientiousness at, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm making up that word again. But like their God isn't Jesus. Their God is the person that fixes them. And because Maeve realizes that, she has an external figure to put her faith towards.
Yeah.
In a sense. So I was really shocked to see that they actually are pushing a new religion, and the religion is actually the creators of Westworld.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it just doesn't seem beneficial to Ford's vision if these things are going haywire. But
is it though? Because he's on a totally different path than management, than the shareholders. He's the guy with the vision. He's the guy who made the park, and he said Arnold thought it was a mistake for them to go to shareholders and investors, and he did it.
Yeah.
And he still feels like he's the one in control, and every single shareholder, every single person in management is his guest in his world.
Well, we see he's in real control.
He's like parting the sea.
Yeah.
And then, before we touch on Ford, I just want to give a last thing, like Maeve approaching Hector.
Yeah.
Like, I think her strategy is, I'm going to start reaching out these bots now, kind of like Dolores did to her. So it kind of jump starts her back. She may restart and forget a couple things, but maybe Hector will be able to fill in the gaps. And it's kind of creating this alliance.
Yeah, like a network memory.
Yeah, so she discovered...
So everyone has a little bit and piece of the whole story as opposed to one person having
It's like
the whole story.
distribution.
Yeah.
So now Hector is a part of that. Hector has seen that. She said that she was shot.
Yeah.
And there was actually a bullet in her, and they both experienced that.
Exactly.
And there was a moment in time where they were kissing where it's like, holy shit, we know we are a part of a fake world.
Yeah.
Because they didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
And now who knows what they're going to remember when they're reset.
Because they got pumped full of lead.
Exactly. But now let's go out of the Westworld. Well, I guess Ford was in Westworld. He was in the construction zone.
Well, see, it looks like this, I call it a hacienda, but it was like an aloe plantation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when we see, what's her name? The manager?
Theresa.
Yeah, we see Theresa show up, and he's got this unbelievably huge excavator.
And he's got a lot of slaves working for him.
Yeah, he does.
Oh my God.
He does. That's why I was wondering what...
I was caught so off guard by that.
Yeah, and I was like,
Oh
that's
my.
a weird contrast, though, if you think about it, though. Because of this sort of conversations we've had about Ford. You would think that these things would be used for that, if they could be used...
In that time period.
Right? So, it's weird, but also at the same time, it would be thematic to that
No,
world.
see, as terrible as it is, I'm not going to be like, they shouldn't have put that in there. No, it should have been in there, and it's necessary because that's what happened.
And also, everyone in that Westworld is technically a slave. They're abused, and it's brutal.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful place. It looks like I said, like a hacienda or like this ranch.
It's gorgeous, minus all the slaves.
Yeah, exactly.
But then, he goes and talks to Theresa over dinner or lunch, brunch, whatever. And
we learn it's like just a psychological mindfuck.
He is nuts.
But he's so prepared.
I love this guy.
Oh, he's awesome.
She's like, oh, I came here when I was a kid. This might have been the same seat. Or I probably sat over there. And he's like, we know everything about you, Theresa.
Everything.
You're sitting in the exact same chair you sat in when you were 13, and now I'm going to destroy it. So, he really mind fucks her, and he pretty much tells her, we know everything about you. You are our guests. This is my world. Everybody who's in my world and around my world is my guest.
And he pretty much said we were gods.
Yes, and that is very important.
Yeah, very important.
And, we see he has control over literally everything. He pauses everyone. He gets everyone to move to a location, move away from the scene because he's going to demolish the location.
But he does it even with like a single finger gesture.
Yeah, so he has control over everything, and his idea has already been approved, and there's nothing that Theresa can even do.
Like above her head, basically.
Yeah.
Without even her knowing this. So that's what's so crazy. So his influence goes deep. But
it goes even deeper, because he knows that Bernard is getting deep in her.
Yeah, he called that too.
So that could mean a lot of different things.
It could mean a ton of different things. But I was just thinking, like, it's one of these things where he probably knows everybody's, like, dark, deep secrets because they go in there and they do shit. And so he can blackmail and he can manipulate. But it seems so crazy to me that Ford went to some kind of creepy hero in the first 2 episodes to, like, almost like a villain in a sense.
I don't see it as.
Well, that's how they're pegging
a
him.
villain. I see him as. I love when he said, "Don't get in my way." By the way.
Yeah.
I thought
Oh,
that was
he's awesome.
But I pegged it as he respects his world, he respects his creation, and every heartwarming scene we've seen with him is with his creations.
Yeah.
He respects them, but he knows what they are.
Yeah.
And when we saw him lash out and cut his creation, he realizes what it is, and it was being worked on. But when he's actually in Westworld, he gives his bots the respect they deserve, in a sense.
So it's the world that he loves, not the individual bots.
Yeah, it's
I don't know, man.
it's always been his pursuit of the world. He doesn't give a shit about management. He doesn't give a shit about the investors. He cares about his vision.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just really quickly want to touch on Bernard. Him knowing that she is with Bernard. Obviously, you could say, oh, there's cameras. Oh, there's like whatever. Like he could know so many different ways. We've been going back and forth on Bernard being a bot.
Yeah.
And it's equally as likely. It's hinting back and forth. And it hints that, this is Ford's world. There could be a million bots that are working for him outside of Westworld.
Yeah, I know.
Like, you just don't know. And it makes sense, right? Because Bernard is taking this fascination with Dolores. Why would the lead programmer take a fascination with Dolores? Well, because Ford could have created a bot, put him in that position so he gets what he wants.
Yep.
He gets all the creation he wants. Ford has complete control now because the lead programmer is now a bot.
Exactly.
And now he has him going and talking to Dolores. And if Bernard is feeding that information right into Ford's ear. Because he wants Dolores to go on this self-fulfilling, self-understanding adventure. Yeah, and that's what he's pursuing.
See, that's where I think I deviate from it. I still believe that there's a possibility that Bernard is a host or a bot. But I think he's coming out too, realizing like, wait a second, maybe consciousness for these things is where the answer is. And he thinks that he has consciousness. And his partner before, Arnold, was all about consciousness in these things. So maybe, I don't know if there's an uploaded consciousness aspect to this, where Arnold is somehow in Bernard in a sense. Like, this is getting so deep, guys, but I really think there's something to that.
Yeah, like the sense...
Because he really felt guilty to me. I don't know if I'm the only one.
Yeah, like the sense of Bernard just being a host wouldn't be true. The fact that Ford would make Bernard as a host, but make him more human than any of them, to the point where, he created him in the image to feel sympathy.
Yeah.
So he knows that Bernard would take certain actions to allow him to achieve certain things.
Yeah, and we see this kind of with the kid. For me, it was Anthony Hopkins or Ford's character as a child, or maybe his own child,
or his son that he would have wanted.
Yeah, because it like a British accent, dressed like him. It seemed like it was his kid or himself.
Yeah, and
so he is creating things that would interact with his emotional side. So it could be the same way with Bernard.
Yeah, and you could say that, Ford could be implementing a lot of himself in a lot of his creations, like Bernard and his son and his struggle.
Is there gestures that he does to Bernard?
I don't know. But he said he knows how that mind works.
But it could be one of those things where he could have created Bernard in such a way that he's like, I can't control him because that would defeat the purpose. Oh my God.
He gives Bernard particular properties so he knows what he's going to do. Bernard is very human. Like, he's like Dolores when she's discovered, like, by the end of this season. Bernard has certain agendas, and he gave him certain personality traits for Bernard to do certain things for him to be on Ford's side.
Yeah. After being shaky on our one theory now because of what happened in this episode, I feel like jumping onto this other one is just like, it's crazier at this point. But it's still hugely possibility. It could be that everyone's a goddamn host. Really. Like, in this world, it could be. But, man.
So that's what we pulled from this.
That's what we pulled. Everybody's a host, guys.
Hugely possibility.
Yeah.
Trevor's quote of the day.
Hugely a possibility.
But yeah, guys, that is our reaction and review for Westworld. You can be expecting our full analysis video, which, god damn, we have a lot to say.
Yeah.
And please, leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, ask. If you have any theories, ask. If I like them, I will talk about them. We will talk about them. And I will give you the credit you deserve, all right? I really appreciate it. I love all you guys' love. I love you guys' support.
Yeah. My goodness. We can't even believe it, to be honest with you.
It's unbelievable.
Yes.
But anyways, we'll see you guys later.
See ya.